I'm Todd Pyra.
And I'm Carly Shimkus. We start with Doug Lazater, who is live in Washington with the very latest on the White House's student visa decision, which is one of the big stories of the day. Hey, Doug.
Carly and Todd, good morning. This is just a temporary pause, according to what a U.S. official told the Associated Press, but it would represent another escalation in the administration's efforts to push back against elite universities and colleges. This latest effort, for now at least, would end the scheduling of new visa interviews for foreign students hoping to come to the U.S. to study. And there are a number of reports that the government is using this time to expand its social media vetting process.
It seems to be such a controversial thing that's going on, but it shouldn't be. And every nation should take seriously, and does, who's coming in. So if you're going to be applying for a visa, follow the normal process, the normal steps, expect to be looked at, and we go on from there.
Critics say universities need to address, among other things, anti-Semitic behavior.
Coming to school here on a student visa is a privilege.
Yes.
And he conflated the idea that somehow academic freedom, this is not academic freedom, this is anti-Semitism in its purest, most hatred form, and it's being tolerated not only on universities, but throughout the country.
And at the same time, the White House is taking another step against Harvard, telling federal agencies to cancel $100 million in federal contracts with the school. Harvard is already suing the administration after the White House cut off more than $2 billion in federal grants following demands that the school reform its admissions policies and address what the administration calls anti-Semitic harassment. Todd and Carly.
All right, Doug Lazater live for us in Washington. Doug, thank you. And State Department spokeswoman Tammy Bruce will have more on this later on Fox and Friends. With that, let's bring in Harvard professor and colonel at the U.S. Army Reserve's Kit Parker. Kit, good morning to you. A whole lot going on surrounding your place of employment right now regarding foreign students as well as federal funding being stripped away. So with all that President Trump is throwing at Harvard, do you foresee a situation where Harvard's president will meet with or try and work with the Trump administration surrounding all of this?
I certainly hope so, and I've been encouraging that on our campus for months now. If President Trump were meet with Putin or her meet with Kim, or certainly meet with President Garber, you should always be talking to your enemies so you can avoid a conflict that's going to hurt both sides. Certainly this conflict is going to hurt both sides. So the only people winning right now is the Chinese Communist Party, who's got to be laughing at the way our institutions of higher learning are disassembling themselves over the last several years in this current battle with government.
What do you mean by that, that the only winner here is the CCP?
Well, you know, I think China sees, the CCP sees science as a battle space. And right now, when you shut down funding, these are competitive grants that Harvard competes for to do research in the nation's interest. I think that when you shut down the science and technology machine in the United States, and that's what universities, these tier one research universities have become. They've become economic engines driving the science and technology that kind of defines the knowledge economy today. When they grind to a halt with lack of funding, then the only people that win are our competitors. And if the Chinese see science as a battle space, we don't recognize science as a battle space. We should. It's a gaping hole in our national security policies. They win. They get ahead. And science moves very fast these days. So when these labs are shut down, whether it's at Harvard or other universities, we're as a nation.
Understood. Well, one of President Trump's demands, Kit, is for Harvard to provide a list of its foreign students so that they can be vetted. I think we know enough about President Trump's personality to know that it will likely bother him to no end to see foreign protesters protesting at Harvard and learn that 27% of its enrollees come from other countries. So do you think that that is a demand that Harvard will work with the president on and provide that list? I think it might go a long way in going back to normalcy here.
I think it's a reasonable request on the part of the president. I think it's a reasonable request on the part of the State Department to follow up on these students who've been given visas to come here to the U.S. For the most part, they're studying hard. They've come to these beacons of democracy called American universities. They're working very hard for us, and many of them want to stay here. It's a privilege to come here to the United States to study. And our institutions of higher education are soft power projection platforms in a knowledge economy. They're very important to the nation's interests. They're certainly important to President Trump's vision of a golden age, where post-COVID-19 pandemic, after the plague, there was a Renaissance period, great advances in science and culture. I think we're posed to see the same thing now. And these universities are going to be the hubs of this Renaissance period that replaced the Italian port cities of Venice and Genoa. So it's important that the universities are secured the same way the Italian port cities were, and that we're all aligned going forward. So I think it's the president's request is the administration's request is perfectly reasonable. It's fair, and I think it's prudent.
Yeah. Well, finally to you, Kit, being an employee of Harvard, what is the mood like there when it comes to the staff? And are you privy to any of the conversations among the university presidents or head of the university in terms of where they see all of this going?
Yeah, I'm not privy to those discussions other than when I've involved in faculty meetings or faculty council meetings, or when I speak with our leaders in those conversations. I'm not going to divulge the contents of because I'm advising them confidentially. But I will say that I think working with the president's in the best interest of both the U.S. government and certainly of Harvard right now. The mood sucks, Carly. I mean, it's you got labs that are shut down. And we're competitive people. We want to compete. We want to compete on the international science stage. And right now, when you can't do research in labs, it's pretty miserable environment.
Well, this fight isn't going anywhere.
We're not doing our job.
Yeah.
Our job is to get in the lab and do science.
Well, we thank you so much for joining us this morning, Kit, and for your service as well and your perspective on this important topic. We appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.